Hey everyone, I'm Katie from Addicted to DIY, and today I'm going to show you how to build this full-size captain's bed with hidden storage. Last year, I built a dresser for my youngest son. Ever since then, I've been struggling with a bed design that would not only be fun for his current age, but would also take him into his teen years. I've teamed up with Rockler Woodworking and Hardware to show you how I built this full-size captain's bed with a hidden storage compartment that any kid would love, plus tons of other cool features. Much like his dresser, I chose to build the frame out of poplar that I milled down into 2x2 and 1x2 dimensional boards. You can also purchase pine if you'd prefer. Before I got started building, I cut all of the pieces down to size with my miter saw. The miter saw cart I built earlier this year made these batch cuts a breeze. For the plywood, I cut the sheets down into manageable pieces with my AccuCut, then finished the pieces off on my table saw. Once the pieces were cut to size, I pre-drilled all of my pocket holes. For the larger pieces of plywood, I used my Craig R3 pocket hole jig. For the smaller pieces, I used my Craig Foreman. I began assembly with the headboard and the footboard. I glued up the 2x2 poplar frame pieces to the plywood and attached everything with 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. I did the same for the footboard, using my plywood as a guide for where all of the 2x2 pieces would fit. For the lower panel, I built the 2x2 frame, then slid the plywood flush with the inside face and attached it with 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. Once the headboard and footboard were assembled, I moved on to the slide-out desk and nightstand trays. Those also were made of a poplar frame and a plywood top. I then drilled pocket holes into the side panels of the bed and attached 2x2s to the top and bottoms of the panels. I forgot to video this step, but you can find it included in the printable plans on my website. I built the drawers out of 1/2 inch birch plywood. I cut all of the pieces down to size, then routed out a dado groove to accept the 1/4 inch plywood bottom. As an added touch, I used my roundover bit to round off the top edges of the drawer boxes. I drilled pocket holes into the drawer pieces, then cut the plywood bottoms on my table saw. I then glued up the drawer boxes and attached the pieces with 1 inch pocket screws. 2 of the drawers are serving as stairs for my son to use to get onto the bed, so I cut 1/2 inch plywood to serve as the tops of the drawers. I drilled holes into them so he can easily remove the tops and access the drawers. I once again used my roundover bit to round off all of the edges, then sanded them down smooth. I ripped 3/4 inch boards into square dowels to serve as the cleats for the plywood tops and attached them to the inside of the drawer boxes with wood glue, brad nails, and screws. The brad nails may have been overkill, but it kept the wood in place while I drove in the screws. Next, it was time to build the drawer fronts and doors. I used tongue and groove joinery for the first time, and the Rockler tongue and groove router bit worked like a charm for this job. Setup was super easy, and I was able to quickly work through all of the pieces to make up the frames of the shaker doors and drawers. To assemble the doors and drawers, I cut my plywood faces to size, glued up the tongue pieces, and put it all together. I secured them with clamps and let the glue dry overnight before sanding everything smooth. While the mattress for this bed hides any exposed pocket holes in the headboard and footboard, I still wanted to make sure any stray pocket holes weren't visible, so I filled them with wood filler. When filling pocket holes, you'll want to work in coats, letting the wood filler dry and sanding in between. The entire bed has to be finished in pieces to be able to carry it into the house and assemble. I stained the pieces in Varathane Special Walnut, then applied 3 to 4 coats of polyacrylic using my paint sprayer. Once all of the pieces were finished and dry, we carried everything into the house to begin assembly. I started with building the face frame for the drawers and cubby. I attached all of the pieces with 1 1/4 inch pocket screws, checking for square along the way. Once the face frame was finished, we moved on to the main carcass of the bed. We lined up the side and middle panels on the headboard and footboard, then clamped and attached them in place with 2 1/2 inch pocket screws. Next, we moved on to the front edge of the bed and installed the face frame and center box, which holds the open cubby and a drawer. For the small divider piece between the desk and the nightstand, I stacked plywood and attached it to the top of the face frame with 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. The top 2x2 piece of the face frame was then attached to the plywood divider and the headboard and footboard. I attached the remaining face frame pieces as well as stretchers to support the drawer slides for the desk and nightstand. All of these were attached with 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. Next, it was time to install the drawers. I used centerline full extension drawer slides from Rockler. For 3 of the drawers, I used 100-pound drawer slides. For the 2 drawers that serve as steps, I used 220-pound heavy-duty drawer slides. These slides are totally optional if you have no need for steps. To install the drawer slides onto the bed frame, I used my Rockler Universal Drawer Slide Jig. I bought this several years ago, and it makes the task of installing drawer slides so much easier for me. To install the drawer fronts, I grabbed some cards and inserted them in small stacks all around the drawer face to get even spacing. I then used my brad nailer and 1-inch nails to nail the drawer fronts in place from the inside corners of the drawer boxes. For the center drawer, I had to get a little creative and nailed 2 nails into the top corners of the plywood face on the front of the drawer to the box from the outside. I stuck duct tape inside the drawer so I could pull it out and fully secure it from the inside with more brad nails. Unless you're really looking for them, you can't even tell there's nails there. I couldn't use my drawer slide jig on the nightstand and desk drawer slides, so I just had to eyeball it. Thankfully, I got lucky and everything slid into place as it should. To attach the 1x4 slats that hold the mattress, I again ripped down 3/4 inch dowels on my table saw and attached them to the bed frame so that the slats would be flush with the top edge of the panels. I drilled pilot holes, then attached them with 2-inch wood screws. I designed this part of the bed to be completely open but also have some useful storage. I installed a pegboard along one whole panel to house at least a portion of my son's Nerf gun collection. I nailed a 1x2 spacer to the side panel, then installed the pegboard with 1¼ inch screws and washers. I also installed a small panel on the other side to hold a few of his smaller guns and darts. I placed the 1x4 bed slats about 3 inches apart on top of the cleats. I drilled pilot holes, then attached them with 1¼ inch pocket screws. I did the same step for over the other side of the bed as well. Once the bed slats were in place, I attached all of the drawer hardware. For one of the doors, I scabbed in a scrap 1x2 to create a flush edge for me to install the drawer hinges. I used frameless inset door hinges, but Euro-style hinges would also work great for this. I made a few adjustments to the doors for even gap, then installed the doorknobs and was done. The finished bed is not only beautiful but also functional with endless amounts of storage. My son has a place to do his homework in the afternoons, plus he's got his own little hideout where he can read books and, my favorite part, keep his Nerf gun arsenal under control. Thanks so much for following along with me today as I shared with you how to build this full-size captain's bed. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. For more projects just like this one, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, head to my website where you can get a detailed tutorial on how to build this bed, as well as the printable plans. Thanks again for watching.